All right, so one of my favorite stretches for the hip, the lower back, in general leg pain that you can't get rid of because of A, either your hip capsule, which is this here, B, your iliacus, which is most likely going to be causing the problem if you feel this stretch, because the iliacus is a little bit different than this muscle here, which is the rectus femoris, because the iliacus is short, and I say air quotes with short, because I don't want you to synonymously confuse that with weak. When one of these muscles crosses only one joint, these are usually the culprits to all of our pain. So what I want you to do, I got two cameras here, I'm going to talk to both of them, is I want you to sit on the floor. And when you sit on the floor, cross one leg in front of the other. Realize if that is the leg that you usually would cross in front. So what I mean by that is mine was always my left leg. So when I tried to sit with my right leg, it wasn't comfortable and it wasn't really possible. So I want you to find your uncomfortable leg if you have one. If not, halfway through this video you felt nothing, no worries. That just means you're part of the 30% of my clients that don't feel this stretch, and I've got another stretch next week that you definitely will feel. However, what I want you to do to test that is as you're sitting in this position, get your bad foot, mine's going to be my right one, and I want you to kind of like scoot it out a little bit. You can see in the other camera, I'm going to back up here a little bit so I don't scoot out of it. You can see how I put my foot a little bit in front. What that's going to do is that's going to change the angle of your hip. It's going to rotate your leg bone, your femur, a little bit more in your capsule. And what that's going to do is it's going to stretch basically everything a little bit more, but especially your capsule, again, which is this here, and even more importantly, your small hip flexor muscle, the iliacus, this bad boy right here. From here, what I want you to do is lean back on one arm, so the opposite arm, and push down a little bit, and see as you push down if you recognize that there's a little bit of stretch inside the hip. You can also try to turn, look over your shoulder, and start to play with the position yourself. You can use your right leg or your leg in front, which is my right, to try to pull your leg down so you can get a little bit of your nervous system and PNF to help you. You can try to straighten your spine and neutralize your hips, if you will. So basically just play with the position so you feel comfortable with it. Rock back and forth maybe a little bit and just see different ways in which you can feel the pull in your hip. If it hurts under your ankle, just get like a mat, a t-shirt, a tissue, whatever. Set it under. Sometimes I even use a sock when I'm like in my office or just not in like a fitness studio. And just take the pressure off of your ankle, obviously. And the other position I like to get into is I like to sit a little bit more forward and normal, get my regular arm, so my left arm behind my left leg here, and just like this, and use my right arm to kind of grab onto my right leg and create this torque. From this torque position, I can kind of just push down a little bit and feel the stretch even more. And if I want to play with it, I can rock back and forth a little bit. I can kind of kick my butt out, try to get my chest up, so really kind of straighten the spine. And from here, again, if I kind of like play with my position, try to push my butt out this way, push my butt out that way, all these different ways you can start to feel different stretches, if you will. And what this is going to do is this is going to introduce you more to your body, more to your hip, and so you can start to understand what is causing your pain. Now, from this position, here's a little bit of a bonus or like extra credit. You can also start to go forward. As you go forward, this is fantastic because again, you can get your hands on the floor. You can kind of twist to the left. You can twist to the right. You can really try to kind of get that butt out, that spine straight, that chest up. Sometimes I like to pretend, am I still in the camera here, that something's pulling me forward. I'm going to scoot back just so I stay in this camera. So like a I don't know, like a rope is pulling me forward, so I get this gapping sensation in my hip. What this is great for is people that are getting sciatica due to things being compressed. Maybe because you're sitting too much, you're driving too much, sitting is the culprit usually for everything, because we sit, we compress everything in a chair when we're learning, in a truck when we're driving, if we're truck driving, trains, automobiles, planes, basically everything. So what we can do here is we can create a little bit of a gapping space. We can pull it, and you can really feel the stretch in the leg that is forward. Now, something that is interesting is you can play with the other leg, the one that you would naturally sit with in front. For me, it would be the left, and you can do the same thing. You can pull the leg out a little bit to increase the angle of the joint, reach forward, and as I do all of these stretches, ironically enough, I still feel it in the right side of my hip because that was where my problem was. I had an issue where I would be waking up in the middle of the evening and I would have this radiating pain going down my right hip, or if I didn't wake up from it, I would get up in the morning and have to move very slow at the beginning because I would have this dull ache. It was actually quite a sharp ache, just radiating through my right hip. And so for me, that was suggesting somehow something was wrong. Now, I relate mine to the fact that I was driving for a very long time and why it affected my right hip and not my left. Maybe it has something to do with my scoliosis, maybe not. But the beautiful thing about these positional stretches is we don't really need to know. And honestly, I don't really care. What I want to do is I want to put my body in a position where I can say, okay, well, I feel the stretch in my right hip. However, if I put my foot out like this, my right foot out, and I go into this position, I feel it even more. What exactly is stretching? Yeah, probably something like my capsule, my iliacus, maybe a little bit of my rectus femoris, maybe some other stuff is going on, but who cares? Let our body do the hard work. Why don't we just focus on the stretch, what we feel, by learning kind of how to understand what we can and cannot do? It starts to educate us more about our body, right? Because if I'm able to sit like this, my left leg behind with no problems, and I'm able to sit like this with my left leg in front with no problems, but the same is not possible for my right leg, and the pain is coming from my right leg, then my body is trying to tell me something. Now, as I always say, pain is the language that our body speaks. The problem is we just don't understand it. So if a baby was crying, you would not duct tape its mouth. You would find a way to communicate and understand what that baby is saying. So the same thing is what we need to do for our body. So I run an unbelievable 6-week unbreakable body, lower back program. I've got people from all over the world, and within 6 weeks, I've had such an amazing ability to help them understand their pain and realize through simple exercises like this and crawling their foot out that they can stop taking the ibuprofen, they can stop going to pointless doctor visits, they can stop getting steroid injections, and God forbid how many surgeries I prevented, all from just understanding and learning the body. So the first thing I want you to do before you buy any programs or get any steroid shots or get any surgeries is I want you to sit on the floor, see what leg you would cross in front normally, and then try the other leg, see how it feels, play with the different positions, and then see if whatever insert your pain is throughout the day starts to get better. If it does, then look at the link below, book one of your personal touch calls with me. It's 15 minutes, it's totally free, I have nothing to sell. This is kind of the i.e. personal touch that is missing in our medical community today, where nobody seems to talk to anybody anymore. And I would like to learn more about your pain, your challenges, your struggles, what's going on with your lower back, how it affects your shoulders, really anything that's going on. Because I've got an unbelievable knowledge center on Facebook, which is totally free. I've got all these videos here. I've got 20-some-odd thousand on Rehab GTS on my Instagram channel. I've got many ways to help everybody for free, but I also have an amazing coaching program. And if I tried to sell everybody that had the personal touch call with me, I would need a business of 100 people. It is only me. My goal is not to sell you anything. My goal is to show you how putting your foot in a different position might actually be the stretch that you need to start to understand why this opens your hips, how this opens your hips, and just understanding a little bit more about your body so you can start to take care of yourself versus relying on others to need to do it for you. So if you have not subscribed to this page, please do so. Grant Training Systems, David Grant right here. Thank you so much for taking the time. Boys, girls, non-binaries, I will see all of you next week. Drop your comments below. Please share the video if it helped, and let me know. Comment down below if it did not help, if it did help, if you have any questions, and I hope to see all of you next week for the next stretch that will again be focusing on the hip and the lower back.